Hello, and welcome to this edition of Spirit Bread. Today, I'd like to talk to you about a band of men touched by God. The story is told in 1 Samuel 10 of the very first king of Israel. Earlier, God had told Samuel that Saul was the one to be anointed as king of Israel. Privately, he had poured a horn of oil over Saul and told him to go home and await further instruction. The day came when Samuel was going to anoint Saul publicly, and so he called for an assembly. The Bible tells us how that Samuel went through the ceremony of selecting the very family that their king would come from, then pinpointed it down to Saul, the son of Kish. Everyone was standing in expectation, hoping to catch a glimpse of their first king. "He'll be a magnificent specimen of a human being," someone cried out. Certainly, he'd probably be a very rich individual capable of representing their nation. But when they called for Saul to come forward, while everyone looked around trying to see him, a hush must have fallen over the crowd because Saul was nowhere to be found. Samuel had to send someone to look for him, and they finally found their magnificent king hiding among the supplies they had brought with them. Not a very good first impression, if you ask me. When they did get Saul to come forward, they publicly anointed him and dismissed the congregation. Some bellyached and complained. Isn't that just like people? You can't please everybody, no matter what you do. After Saul was anointed as king and the congregation was dismissed, I can't help but think Saul wondered, what am I supposed to do next? There was no royal city to go to, no palace in which he was going to be living, and no crown to place on his head. His only choice was to go home just like everyone else. So here he was, the new king of Israel, and his only option was to go home and plow fields like he had always done. But the Bible tells us that a group of men who had been touched by God followed him. They had to be encouraging to Saul. God had given him a job to do, and on this first day on the job, I don't think he felt very much like a king. However, this group of men had confidence in him because they had confidence in God. Their hearts were touched, and in obedience they followed Saul, and that had to make him feel better about the whole situation. It made me to think about how God anoints us today to do a job. Often, he doesn't give us a lot of detailed instructions because he doesn't want to overwhelm us. But then, many of us need a plan, and after God has given us a call without instructions, we may feel like we just stepped into Dumb and Dumber because we just don't know what to do next. But think about it. When God does something, he does it right. Even though he may not give us immediate instruction, he will always provide a few who are touched by him to follow us. They are there to help, encourage, and to lift us up. Maybe you are the one called, or perhaps God has dealt with your heart to follow. No matter what service God may call us to, it takes both. It takes the one to whom God has given the plan, and it takes those touched by God to help carry it out. A kingdom wouldn't have been much without a group of people. This band of men was a start. It's the same way today. Maybe you've been called to pastor a congregation or to start a worship group or something else, but that won't happen until you have a band of people who see the vision and are touched by God to help. Whether you're the called or the call to help, don't feel like you're inadequate. After all, if the sewer backs up, the water can't flow out until the plumber does his job. Just maybe the leader isn't the most important one. Maybe it's the guy who does the behind the scenes work that is really the hero. Either way, we are all a part of this band touched by God to get the job done. Moses was a great man of God and was given personal instruction by God as to just how to make the tabernacle and all its furnishings. But Moses had grown up as the son of a king. Then he was banished to the wilderness where he tended sheep for 40 years. He wasn't an artist, and he knew nothing about metal crafting or sewing or carving, but God told him to do it. That was where the people came in. God had especially prepared 2 men who knew all about that kind of stuff to get it done. Their hearts were touched by God to jump in and help with the project. It's the same today. So whether you're the one with the calling or you're one of the band of people, you are just as important. Let's work together and build a kingdom. What do you say? I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you about our book, Finality. It's available only in ebook format, and there are 2 ways you can get a copy. First, if you email me at jerrydowsley@gmail.com, that's JERRYDOUSLEY, no caps, no spaces, no periods, at gmail.com, jerrydowsley@gmail.com. When I get your email, I will in return email you a copy in PDF format, completely free of charge, no obligation, no offering required. I'm not building a list of emails to solicit you with other things later. Or if you don't feel comfortable giving out your email address, you can go to Amazon.com and search for Finality, and you may want to add by Jerry Owsley for a more accurate and faster search. There you can download it in Kindle format for only $2.99. I wanted to make it free, but Amazon requires a sale price, and that is the minimum charge they will allow. I feel that this book is very important in today's society, and I want you to have it. Again, no strings attached. Finality will address end time events as described in Daniel, Revelation, and other places in God's Word. I firmly believe that in light of political unrest, world events, threats of war, and cataclysmic events in nature, that we could very well be living in the last days before Christ's second coming. Finality will help us prepare for that time. Just as a caution, I have discovered on Amazon someone attempting to sell hard copies of our books for elaborate prices. Note that this is not coming from me, and please don't fall for their lure. The ebook format is the only official way our books are currently and officially available. Thank you, and have a great day. Well, thanks for joining us today. Be sure and look for the next edition of Spirit Bread.